Hey everybody, what is up? Gary Simon here. So recently I stumbled upon this article that was discussing the optimal line length. So at Bamer.com, I'm going to go ahead and link this in the YouTube description. There's a great article that I suggest everybody read about this topic. And today's video, I'm going to actually kind of demonstrate some of the ideas in this article, and I'm going to present you with a free Figma sort of template that you can use to quickly help you determine your line length and where it sort of should be. And this ultimately helps you improve your readability. Now, also I'm going to show you a free Figma plugin that also will allow you and assist you in helping you determine where your line length should be if you're dealing with a type heavy sort of layout. Now, as always, make sure to subscribe and let's get started. Now, chances are if you're watching this video, you probably want to be a better designer. And if that's the case, how much do you really want it? Because at DesignCourse.com, I've created a UI UX course that will help you go from designing layouts that I might rate a 4 or 5 up to 8 and beyond. But more important than that, as a better designer, this means that you can land higher paying clients and jobs. This course includes over 16 hours of video, 40 interactive UI design tests, and even mentorship where I personally take a look at your work that you submit, I review it, and many times I also revise it, providing you with great feedback to help you become a better designer. Now, for this video, I want you to use the coupon code UI2022, and that will give you 22% off at checkout. Alrighty, let's get started here. So I'm going to click on the frame tool. We're going to choose desktop under the desktop category, and I'm just going to bring and drag that in just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we'll do, just for, I guess you could say just for context, let's get a title up here. So a systematic approach to type. All right, now we're gonna make this around, let's just do like size 48. Actually, that's kind of big. We'll do like 40, let's just do size 40. All right, that's much better. And we'll leave it at the default font Inter, I-N-T-E-R. And yeah, right there is pretty good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bring in some type. So before I do that though, what I do want to do is we're going to take the auto layout, the layout grid rather, and we'll change it to columns. And I just want one column, and we're going to set the margin to like 120. Let's do 130. All right, and that way I could see the equal amount of white space on the left and right. All right, so we can also toggle that on and off if we wish. So let's move this over here. And then we'll take our type tool, and just for, some people would actually do this. I was guilty in the past of doing this, but we take the whole type and just drag it across, and just, you can add your paragraph there, right? Well, let's put in size 18, which is pretty much the low end for your font size on a large desktop or a desktop resolution. You can go anywhere from 18, I would say, up to about 24 or so. And that's, again, that depends on the font and how it's constructed, but that's for most fonts. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste in some type that I have over here off the side. You can use the Lorem Ipsum Figma plugin, by the way, to do this as well. All right, so here's the type. Now I did make an adjustment over here. So this right here is your line height or your leading. Typically speaking, you want to be around 1.5 times or 150%, and that will increase the amount of white space between the lines of type. If we leave this at not 0 but just auto, you see what this looks like compared to this over here, which is going to be 150%. All right, this one is just easier to look at compared to that one at the top. All right, so let's delete that one. There we go. All right, and so we have Inter, regular font weight, size 18. All right, so we're ready to rock. Now, this right here, objectively, let's go ahead and hide this right there. This right here, like if you were to use paragraphs of this length, they would be objectively just way too long. Nobody would want to sit there and read that, or few people would at least. There is somewhere in this area a sweet spot. And so I created, based on that article, which I thought was a great article, a little template. And so I'm going to paste that in and put this to the back with my bracket key. And here we go. So this is showing us essentially where each character, so at the top, these values up here are character counts. All right, so right around the M in Ahmet or whatever is 25 characters. So from here to there should be around 25. Now, how would you know that though? Well, there's a great plugin. If we go to the Browse Plugins in Community and we type in just Word, I believe, let me text count. I think it's called text count. Yeah, I have it installed. It's called text counts. All right. So install that and then come back and we'll go ahead, right click and choose text counts. And right here, if I double click and select this area right here, we will see that around actually the E, I have that off slightly, the characters, it shows you right here, 25. All right. So the sweet spot is going to be right up here between 50 and 80. Now, of course, depending on the situation, depending on what else is happening in the layout, you can get away with going maybe a tad bit further or a tad bit under. But typically, you want to stay around in this green area. You don't want to exceed it really hardly at all. So, or very much at all rather. So what would this look like then if we adjusted this type? All right, well, let's move it over. Bring it in, bring it in. All right, so we could go out to here. We could come down to here, but you typically want to stay right around here somewhere in the middle just to be safe. Now, what if, for example, I've seen people do this as well. If we have a bunch of type, you know, someone coming down here, I would say this is objectively just way too small in terms of the amount of characters. So what does this actually end up being? Well, if we take our plugins real quick to text counts, move this over here, select this. This is just 40 or so. So I would say probably right there would be a little bit, just not enough type right there. All right, so right around here is good. Now you might be wondering then, in the context of this large desktop layout, let's hide this real quick. Then this looks very incomplete, correct? I mean, yeah, for sure. Like there's all this white space over here. What are you to do? Well, you have a couple of options essentially. Well, first, let's get our rectangle. You can put an illustration, you could put an image. So essentially we're just creating two columns in order to push this over. So if we bring back our grid, let's move things over. We'll have this one start here. This one's right around here. And there we go. This is a suitable way, a perfectly fine way to deal with the type. Let's hide that. Now, another way, another common way that you'll see on websites is if you have like a blog and you have a bunch of paragraphs, a very content-heavy layout, you simply take this and we'll center it as is. So we could center this as well. We'll bring back our grid. And now we may have to adjust this maybe to like the 330 or so. Nope, even more. Right around here or so. And that is the width that you would want to stick with or so for your blog and heavy type-based content. And so it would look something like this. Now, of course, we don't have the context of a navigation or anything like that. Another thing to concern yourself with, you might be wondering, well, what about the rest of the layout? Well, typically on these types of blog style pages, you'll see, for instance, like a hero section, which it can completely extend beyond what's happening down here. You don't have to confine everything based on where the type is being confined. So for instance, you might have a background up here with your type for your blog title, and you might have maybe a subheadline right here along with the author date, all that good stuff. And even the navigation could extend outside of this as well. So for instance, this might be a logo area. We'll just put something like that, make it a pill shape. We'll have a skeleton kind of UI up here. Let's move things down, give ourselves a little bit more white space. And then over here, again, you can have your individual links. All right, take this down maybe to like 70. And something like this would be completely acceptable. All right. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right, everybody, hopefully you enjoyed that. It's just another thing that we have to worry about in order to really ensure a great user experience and readability as well for our visitors. Now, as always, if you're interested in learning UI, UX design in an interactive setting, definitely check out DesignCourse.com. Use the promo code UI2022 in order to get 22% off, and I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.